We are back in the 207 kitchen here at Main Studios. We are joined by Chef Bo Byrne. Always good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here. Good to see you as well.
You're the culinary instructor at SMCC.
Yes.
Should point that out.
One of a few.
Yes.
Yes.
And the meal that we're making today is something that you actually just made with your students.
Yes. This was inspired by classical French cuisine that I made with the students. This took 3 days in class.
Wow.
But we've shortened it down to about a 30-minute version for you today.
I love it. Okay, so what are we making?
All right, we're going to be making a quick chicken and kale cassoulet. So cassoulet is normally a bean and meat stew that join forces and have a little bit of buttered breadcrumb on the top.
Yep.
And we've kept ours more or less chicken-centric with chicken stock, chicken sausage, and chicken thighs.
Sounds good. All right, where do we start?
So I start normally in a pan like this. I render some bacon lardons, just thin slice bacon. If you don't have lardons, will work just fine. And then after they release a little bit of their juices in the pan, I set the bacon to the side, and then you want to sear your chicken thighs so that they get a really nice crust on them like this, about 4 minutes per side.
Okay.
And then you set those to the side as well.
Any seasoning on that?
At this point, you could do a little bit of salt and pepper, but I usually end up seasoning most of the broth later on.
Okay.
So after you sear the chicken, you have to let it sit for at least 10 minutes before you ultimately dice it. So it's eventually going to turn into this right here, but that's after it has a chance for the juices to collect.
Okay.
So meanwhile, as we've sauteed our bacon, taken it out, and then we seared the chicken and taken it out, the next step is to put some mirepoix, onion, celery, and carrots, cook it in that bacon fat for a few moments, about 5 minutes to render the bacon, 5 more minutes for the veg.
Okay.
So that's where we are at now. So now at about 10 minutes into this pan's life, we would add some cabbage to the mix here like so. A little bit of cabbage in here. And to that, then after about a minute or so, we're just gonna kind of speed this up for TV purposes. We throw in our garlic and let that garlic saute for just about a minute.
It smells so good.
And before that garlic has a chance to burn, I usually come at it with the chicken stock now and extinguish. So this is a good way to think about when your garlic is starting to get a little bit away from you.
Yep.
Just throw a little bit of your liquid in there and that'll stop it. Hold it tight. And also at this point is where we're gonna introduce our kale, white beans, and a little bit of some zucchini as well.
All right. Some color in there.
Get some color in there and some fresh vegetables and a little bit of some bite, some starch. And what's gonna happen is we're gonna be using the tenderness of the zucchini later on as our done point for this. So after this comes to a quick simmer, I might add some freshly ground cumin and coriander. That's optional. If you're not a fan of those, you could just leave them right out.
Okay.
I do a little bit of some lemon juice for some acid. If you didn't do some of this, you might just do a little bit of some apple cider vinegar. It's about a tablespoon or so.
Yep.
And as this is warming up, we would reintroduce that bacon lardon from before, the chicken now diced up.
Mix it all together.
And some chicken sausage, yeah. And now, like I said, we're just really looking for the doneness for the tenderness of the zucchini and for everything else to be warmed through.
Okay.
Okay? So while this is coming together, the last piece of the puzzle is we need to make some buttered breadcrumb.
Okay, and you just taught me a good trick about this too.
Yes, so the buttered breadcrumb, where people tend to make a small mistake is after they melt the butter, they then add the breadcrumbs to it and cook them and toast them right here and there in the pan.
You don't want to do that.
Which you don't want to do that.
Okay.
You only do that if you're going to then garnish finished food. However, if your plan, like our plan is, to put breadcrumbs on here and then bake it off in the oven, we can't already have them toasted. So you simply want to just melt some butter and then throw in your breadcrumbs like this here and give this a little stir. Just like so. And then this is the point in which that you want to stop. These are now officially buttered breadcrumbs.
Yep.
And they look something kind of like this.
Nice, and they won't burn, essentially.
And these ones, yeah, now they still need to cook. So when we put these on the top of the cassoulet and fire that off into the oven, we'll achieve a beautiful golden brown top like we have over here.
Do you want to move this over?
Sure thing.
Oh, this is still hot.
Is this still a little bit hot? Do it like that.
Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
So now we've got this beautiful crust on the top of the cassoulet.
Good.
And if you'd be kind enough to pass me that and one of those spoons.
Good.
And so I like to
Two.
try to get a little bit of that crust on the top. So I like to kind of come in here, help myself to a good portion of the beans and the broth, like so.
Looks good.
and then try to capture a little bit of the crumb right on the very, very top, like so. Something just like this.
Wow.
And if I were to finish this off now, I might come at it with a little bit of some fresh lemon zest, maybe a little bit of some parsley, tiny drizzle of some olive oil, and a hefty sprinkling of some Parmesan.
Wow. That looks so good. And it didn't take us 3 days to make,
Doesn't take
everybody.
doesn't take 3 days to make this version. I throw in for some fresh vegetable flavors, little fresh herb bundle like that.
Yep.
If you like, optional. But just like this. This is quick chicken and kale cassoulet in 30 minutes.
Looks really good. Good stuff. Thanks so much
Thanks for
showing
having
us
me.
how to make it. If you want to learn how to make this for yourself, just head to the 207 section of our website and app. It smells so good. Stay with us. We'll be right back.